Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, we're here. Thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce myself first and appreciate the ones that come and really kind of break down what we're going to go over here on the silver analysis. And excuse me for a lot of rawness that I'm giving you. This is more of an enjoyment for me, to be honest with you. I think I found my love. I think I found that thing, and I really want to keep on pushing on this here. It's going to sharpen me, and these are things that allows you to get more open, become more of yourself, introduce yourself into something that you have that will really benefit others. And I think that's what a lot of us is looking for. What skills do you hold, buddy? I hold a vision, an eye, and I love to trade. I've got a profound new way of trading that really something that is ongoing. You really have to really practice it and grasp the concept of it and go into deep continuousing of it. So this is going to be somewhat of a story. This is going to be one of an example of how to break that down. I like to talk about stories. I like to bring a story into the analysis of this here, make it simplified for your common person, and see where we go with this here. Let's see how the story plays out. The story is going to be more of supply and demand. Okay. More of accumulation and distribution. And we're talking about silver. We're talking about the chart and what we have here, an analysis of where silver has come and gone. Of course, this is not a full chart, but this is what they provide us in certain cases. So I'm going to work with it. We're going to work with what we have. I mean, this goes back into 06, 05, 06. So, hey. Okay, obviously it's been longer than that, but we're going to just take this analysis right here only between this month. This is a monthly chart. We're going to do a monthly and possibly in a weekly chart. Okay, monthly and a weekly chart of how to bring silver into an understanding and how to bring trading and viewing this in a way that buying and selling, supply and demand orders of if it's a hot commodity, period. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I want to just kind of go in detail, and this is going to be a lengthy video because it's more of and all of this, let me start out again with, this is a retailer's individual / professional way of looking at this, but at the same token, this is only my opinion. Okay, this is not somebody else's opinion, so don't take these things here and run with them. This is for my analysis and my understanding. I don't have the layout that everybody is wanting when they have seen other pages, and so this is more so for me and my predictions and being able to follow up on these things here to help better myself as a trader. Okay, as a market analyst. I'm sorry. Anyhow, so let's go with that, and let's go from the start. From what I see here, first candle, and we're gonna walk all the way through to the ending, and we're gonna tell a story. Create a story, understand the story, and how this move to get us to this next point and what we see in the future. So first, I'm going to start with the support. I'm going to start with the opening. This was the first candle starting out. Let's clear out some of this here. Okay, starting out back in April of 06. We started out and we toppled up. we did not reach a high. This is the highest here that we started with. Okay, so this was our bottom. Now, in my story, I'm gonna give you one point that I want everybody to follow with me with, and it's very important, and that is the one who started it. We call it the GWS, guy who started it. Who's the guy who started this mess? So let's go from, I don't know about that music, that kind of, it's a little too choppy for me. So let's go with a break. We had a down break from the start. We rose up and we broke. This red candle is the guy who started everything. How far did it go? Here. Okay. All right. So this red candle is the one who started everything. So actually this should be red ideally. So this should be the top of the seller. I'm sure you'll eventually, traders can grasp this, and this is going to be more for an advance and slash for your common person. Hopefully I can pick up on it. So we have one break, and this is actually ideal. We're going to use that as an orange. So we got a break line is orange, your sell line and your green line is of course is buy support, and your red is resistance. Okay, so we're here. So we have that break. Now we got to get above, obviously, this red wick. We have a red candle. This is the body of it here. This is more of the importance of this break, but at the same time we can't neglect the full candle and the wick also. So we could put another orange line here, something gray or whatever, but we're gonna keep that just here to there. So we broke it and we got over it, and once we got over it, we held. So that's kind of give you an indication that we did respect it, that we were respecting it, because we held here with the green to go up for another attempt up. Now that attempt up didn't hold. Okay, so here is my actual red line. This wick, if everybody can see it, I know this is what it is, so we just have to work with it. So I start getting used to these videos. Now here we did not test my break line. It should have been turning green if it continues to hold here. We didn't test it, and of course we also broke through. Now if we had created a line here, it would broke through. Now let's go ahead and do so. I don't know if I want to do that, but either way, who started this? This was a support line. Now who started it? True enough, it came from here, but he wasn't the one that started it. This person was the one that started it. Okay, this is a candle, full candle, that this one here did not completely go through. This one here did. Okay, before we go that way, before we do that part, we had the sell. Okay, now who started and got over the sale? This gentleman. So we're going to draw a circle for that. And you guys excuse me for my tools, because all of this is rather new for me. Even Skyview, I don't trade on Skyview. I have my futures accounts and other accounts that I go from. and this is more of a trading practice platform here. So we go from here, and we have this gentleman right particularly at this point. So I'm going to bring this orange up here to exactly that part. Now this is the one that started all of that. So once we get past that, and who started that person? So we're going to have a mark for that. Okay, should maybe be another color, I'm sure. Let's go with orange because it's not a guarantee that it will hold, but it's the ideal, and it should turn brown here and then it should turn green here. So this would be an ideal orange. We would go to brown because it's piercing through here, and we would go to an actual green once the brown the brown gives indication that it's trying to hold. So but before we go there, we go and we say, okay, who started this? Well, you broke that guy. So he started everything. So everything has to be above this point in order to be an actual buy. So we're going to bring that on over. Okay. And like I said, I'm horrible with this. I'm not used to this platform and the design as quick as most people are. But I am thorough, sufficient with what I do, and very accurate a lot of times. So we go from getting a strength. Well, first we got tested. Let's go here. We did start this out, and this was the last ending of support. So we get here, and on a larger time scale, 3 months out or whatever, out of this month, these are wicks now. On a smaller time frame, weekly and daily, you will see candles here, but on this monthly, these are nothing but wicks. So that's going to help us out a lot more to read things in the future. Again, these wicks here below this support, and I know my support line is thin, and I normally have it this thick, but I was pinpointing things earlier. So anyhow, what we have is candle wicks. These tails on a smaller time frame of this monthly would be candles, but on this monthly they're only wicks. So let's go with the story also of supply and demand and accumulation. And now this obviously would be your supply pushing, and how far did it go before the demand came in. The demand paused this big freight train immediately from his wick, from that wick. So the pressure came in. Now, if your big boys the story is this here. Pressure's coming in. Oh my goodness. Pressure has came in and broke and passed the guy who started it. Pressure came in, gotten smaller, showed pressure from this wick. The candle gotten smaller and it showed pressure. Pressure continued. This is more of an exhaustion candle to the bottom, and we have a wick. If the big boys were really pushing hard, if the big boys really had the angle of continuing with a down trend, then what is this wick? Why do we have a wick here? Why do we have a sign of pressure from the big boys? Why do we have a wick here? Pressure from the big boys. So it's not really selling me any dreams. So this immediately comes in and pauses and holds along with our initial supposedly down motion from the start, but it had a wick and a smaller push. So we get on up here and we get above it. And so, okay, we turn all this around and we're trying to figure out, and of course we get on up here, and further we go from here all the way up to the top here before we really see some pushback with 2 and more candles and small candles here in a consolidating area. So that is right here in this particular particular area that we got things started. So let's go ahead and move up. What do I want to change all this? How far do we need to tell the story? Okay, I can change that part. Cool. So let's just take this one here and put it at the top of that wick and that candle. The guy who started things, the woman, everybody, the child, who got involved, who started this mess, who broke the guy who started everything. This one particular candle broke it all. So you owe everybody an apology. So then we get here with volume, with no real volume, but volume. Okay, we get here and we break above it and we peek our head above it. Okay, so now we want to see a slow progress to the downside, choppy, consolidating in that matter, and the consolidation and continue to stay. And we got above things, so now we know we're sitting above it, especially if we got above here. So let's take this particular one, which started everything, which is really the start of everything, and let's tighten up the color scheme. Alright, y'all ready for this story now? We're gonna have to get on over to the end and predict what we got going on with silver. So, but the distribution was the buying process, the momentum went up. Then we pulled back, but we did not go back 100%. Okay, we wasn't 100%. That's very important to know where we're at. 100%. What is 100%? 100% is even, obviously. And so we didn't do that, and we had a green candle. Okay, so we're still on the up momentum. How far was that? That was close. That was, you know, even with that candle, that was 98%. So we had a 98%, but not 100%. Okay, very important. Okay, so then we keep it moving. Whoa, we have here, we break above. This is one candle, only one candle, which we don't measure one particular candle, we measure a group. And we're, as a group, we have not gotten back. This would have been 100% at the take. The bounce, the consolidation was already over the actual guy who started the initial sale. So the consolidation, if it holds above the one major support that holds a sale, that is where we consider to continue a buying continuation by holding above the actual sale. Okay, so we're above and we continue to climb. And how far do we climb? Now, who started what and where we stop at? Okay, so initially this was, the guys ran up to this point. And we're gonna move our really came up to here. I guess you could say it came up to the other part, but either way of that candle, who did that? This person. And you could say, okay, well, nah, this is it. This is where let's see here. Who started all that? Yeah, you want to say here. I want to say at the bottom of this right here for sure. And you can, okay, so we'll just move on. So that ran all the way up, and it actually went up. Okay, but before it got up there, it actually had a hiccup, a halt, and a continuation. Okay, so at that halt, and the continuation, we see what happened. It respected that continuation. And it was a wick. That's a wick right there. So we see what happened. It respected it, but at the same time, it went 100%. Okay, so that's where you want to see 100%. So you see 100% in motion right here. So this kind of tells you a lot here. So back in January 2012, people wanted to respond and buy and got caught up in the buys all the way, and probably still in the buys, but all the way until 13 a year later after this big move here. But this is 100% retraction from the one who started it, which is here. Okay, so we already kind of got an idea. I could draw this circle there. We do have an idea of that. All right, and of course we know to draw that circle on over here and bring it on across. Now, and I can't change all the colors that quick. I'm not that familiar with this. Well, of course I can, but that's too much. So we have what we have. Come on, Ghost Rider, talk to me. So we have the 100%, and we have now. Of course, we could draw. This is your typical. I understand the typical concept of what happens at that 100%. And I'm not going to go into all the details of all of that. But, well, let's just draw it like this right here. Yeah, that's pretty high. That's a high up, because normally this one here is where it's at, and this one is between here and here. So you have two. Let's just say this was a blue line. Yeah. All right. So, and of course, we see what's going on after that. We know how the story goes. So once you have your 100%, then you're looking for your break. Once it's gotten rid of all the actual accumulation, distribution. I'm sorry. Yeah, the accumulation, correct. And so we are now back to the one who started it. Of course, it showed respect. But now we're again at 100%. So I'm sure a lot of us is catching on to what's going on at this point. I'll draw my lines. But we're going to get on over to this side where we can ideally identify what we have going on in silver. And we want to do it step by step for my benefit and for yours. The ones that wants to see how this works. So many ways. Trust me, it's very complex. So we get here and we get to this break. So now we can say, who started this? Where is the person who started all this mess? It did not start. You didn't break. You didn't start anything. You didn't start anything. You didn't even start anything, Red, Mr. Red. Oh, but you did. You did, and you did. You started it, and you really finished it. Okay, bet that. So now, Red should go here. And ideally, should be also at the top there as well. But you know what? No, let's make this orange and red at the top. Okay. So now we have, and of course, as you come across, you see what's taking place. It's going to react from it. So now what we're saying is that I have no idea. Let's keep on going further and further. Pick up what's going on. Let us open this up here so I can get a better view. Okay. All right, so you started that, but you was a real motion. You was a real McCoy, obviously. But you have some say so in the matter too, and you have some, but really, yeah. Let's get here. So we know if we're not below this here, obviously, that we're not in the sales market. We know if we're not below. Let's bring everything back now. Let's get some of these lines up here. Okay, so the original McCoy was right here. Okay, and obviously right below it, the body of it. Okay, so that's the original McCoy. So now we see that we're respecting that. We're saying that we're double respecting it. All right, but we do have, or do we have 100%? Now let's not assume. That's very important. Now we do not even, well, let's see what's going on. No, I mean, obviously it is and it's not. Okay, it is not technically. Well, technically it is, but no, it's not a sale. Here you have, again, the body is not through, touching, anything of the sort. So therefore you at 99, 98% or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so you're not at 100%. So therefore now you have momentum. Everybody that think it was going to continue to go down, immediately turned around and changed that dynamic. Okay, so we know we're up in a bull buying market area based on this is not being a complete 100%. Okay, and it's also respecting the initial introduction of this chart. Okay, so now where are we? Let's get a little closer now. Let's find out what's really going on in this puppy. And let's make an analysis a little bit better and talk about the numbers, because obviously we're at 17 or 16.70, $16.70 or so. $17. It's been around $17. Actually gotten up to $18 here last month of September 2019, and a lot of news has been on about silver and gold getting up out of here, getting into the higher, and when and where and why and so on. Let's look more into what we have here. At this particular times, we had high volume. We had volume picking up, of course, obviously, and volume dropping. Now we had the dark cloud volume, and ever since we had that dark cloud volume declined over 50%. That's a good 45% or so decline, and that means investors walked away. A lot of heavy investors walked away from that buy orders. Heavy investors. And then we still had some good investors, but then we had the sale immediately right then. So as soon as we had the sale, another dark cloud, another 25% or so walked away. Big drop off in volume. Okay, I'm going to bring that volume also across. I'm sorry, guys, because I know I'm not even that efficient with this volume ordeal. trying to make this even more viewable. This chart, man, you gotta enlarge the volume this way and see it that way. Okay. So we had, bring that down. Okay. So we had our dark cloud there, and we had a drop off in volume. When you have a major drop off in volume again, after you had a big move, a big spike down like that, and you have a drop off in volume, although it's green and you expect, okay, the next move should be kind of going to the upside from here on out, it's a major drop off in investors. The investors walked away, so now these investors here are not strong as investors in the past. So you're not expecting a hard move because of the major drop off in volume. That's very important. Can y'all see all this, man? I'll try to look like whatever. Okay, and I keep on changing the. Alright, I got that. Alright, so then we have that drop off. It hovered, it kept it going. We could have drawn a green line. Kind of let y'all know how to read the volume a little bit too, engaging that. So we had the highest next green line, giving it going across, going across, going across, going across, going across. It's just not getting up there. No more green bars is pushing ever since this one back here, since they started this puppy back here. And of course it retested here, and no more green buyers, no more buyers coming in. So now you see what happens down to the downside. How far did it go? Down to the next resistance. This was the original one here. If it's not able to hold, it's going to make it down to the next one. Okay, so obviously if this is one that's not able to hold, we're looking to make it down to the next one, or ones in between here to the next support. And this would be an ideal support. This was original support, and we had the original support here. So this is a good support area hold. Okay, so we got that coming through. So I just want to kind of give y'all analysis of how this works when it comes to supports and hold. So if one is not, okay, so we're gonna do that same thing, and we're looking for that 100% retracement. Alrighty, but on the volume tip, even if you expand the volume, and you can see how, if you expand the chart, you see how the volume, the last green, and really right behind that was red. And I don't even know if I'm on the right deal. I'm probably all confused at this point with adjusting this thing. So we get over here and we have support. Now, how far did that go before it actually? But let's find out who's the actual sellers that started this again. It was right here. Okay, so we got a yellow deal, and I need to make a circle. So we got here and there. Okay, and obviously it showed their respect there, but is it really showing respect? Because now we're backing it up. Soon as it showed the respect from that orange, from the orange line, and the red line is what we're looking at. So we know that it's going to show its respect here, and we know it's going to show its respect ideally here. But what is it doing? It's moving from here. This guy that started everything, and original start of everything as well. So obviously we don't want to see 100%. We don't want to see no more 100% coming this way, because if we see another 100%, that ain't good. It's gonna be looking, trying to get back to that that bottom. But no, that's not gonna be the case. We don't suspect. Well, let's get into that. We have volume. That's what I need to make. All right, cool. So these chart adjusters. All right, so we have volume. All right, I'm gonna hurry this on up so we can get out of here on this. Is it gonna adjust too when I adjust? So anyhow, we have increase in volume. Then we have a sell liquidation here. They're liquidating some of the funds there to keep the party going. Keep the party going. Keep the party going. Keep the party going. And we approach this support area, resistance area of the orange. Excuse me, on the blue. I think I can go ahead and just probably make that gray or something. But it is the actual. What I want to also indicate is that what's important to indicate is that if this is the one that started things on this end, and this is the one that started things on this end, this is not good. None of this right here is good. None of this is good. Although it's touching and it's coming back to the original start of the overall contract here, start of the silver in 2006. So this is the start of the silver in 2006, which is at $13. This holding below this 1782 is not good for me. I don't like, why are you holding below? Why did you even get this far below and then you held below? Yeah, you may be coming out, and on a bigger chart, this may be a wick, and you know, in so many ways. But I don't know. So let's see. It's not good. I don't like to hold. I don't like things holding below this mark and considering itself to be a buy. Okay, so let's go back into. Now these are months passing on over from 2016 to 2019 here currently. But let's go ahead and even if this was a buy for a period of time, obviously we need to get over $20.41 to be exact. But realistically, we need to get over $18.66 or whatever, $18. And right now, we're not having a strong, the push from the beginning stopped already and had a halt at 1860 at this mark, respectively. But get your butt on over. So the real buy will become over, obviously, the 18. And how it really approaches that 20 with a strong green pushing into it, then I will say respectively we can get on into that and come back down to the 20 and get respectively on up into 27 before we start to maybe come back down to 20 again, and before we get on up and up and up. So right now, a lot of headway of volume coming in, plus, good plus. Is this just a small pullback and we have a supply still buy up? Are we still buying up at this point and continuing to just buy up? And this is a just a demand area and the supply area. True enough, it's holding on the support that initially started here, that started this one here. So this here never reached anywhere. So it's holding and trying to, that was 100%, but at the same time, it's trying to hold and stay above there. Now, volume has, that is a resistance. Obviously, that's a resistance, and we know that was a resistance. And let's look into it a little deeper. Let's go into it now a little deeper. Let's go into 1 week. 1 week candles here and find out what we have going on. I really hope this shows y'all something, because I know my eyes can see something, but video screen sometimes, I'm sure the video is what it is. we're getting volume, and we're getting some action, a lot more action coming into this area. Well, we were. Do you recall from let's say if it was going up, this is a $50, this is $50, say that was $50. Do you recall the volume move? And we have the dark cloud here. We have a tremendous drop off of volume that came on in. So first it was a sell off, and we haven't had any buyers to come and immediately challenge that sell off, that liquidating period. We had a major drop off of investors just walked away from once we saw the sell off, and basically came out of this buy. Okay, now we have a still drop. Okay, so we have down, then we had a major drop off in buyers. So, and obviously we see that in price. It didn't hold for anything. It tried to go up. It went up here, this portion, and it just boom collapsed. Even though we had so then we had some more buyers come in and say, whoa, we immediately come right back. Okay, cool. So we saw some motion, and eventually you showed your face because you were the buyers, and it was immediate drop off in volume. So these sellers aren't really challenging these buyers. So as soon as those sellers came in, the buyers came in. But after the buyers came in, it was an immediate drop off in sellers. So we don't have any strong sellers. So then we come on and we're still pushing buyers. Well, yeah, we're still pushing buyers. But then we come back with sellers. So we got sellers, buyers, and a drop off. And what week is this? That's why I get all. That's why I need to know my mechanics a little bit better and just trying to get used to things. Okay, so we're 2 days into this week here. Okay, so we're 2 days into this week here. 3 days into this week, and so. Excuse me, I need some water. Okay. If we're dropping off in sellers, that's a good sign that we have sellers coming in at this moment, but they're dropping off. And here we still have pressure coming from the bottom, from the downside. Okay, so that's a very good sign that we're looking to get back up in here and approach the $17. Okay, so on a weekly, that's a good sign, but where are we coming from here? Who started what and what's what? That's a good sign on that one indication of pressure coming from there. That's a good sign that is the investors, the buyers. Ooh, man, you guys, y'all need to come on with it. Yeah, this is all descending volume. This whole thing is descending volume. This is a good sign in one regard because the buyers can come right on in. Now, where are the buyers going to come in at? So it's not no hypotheticals. We don't do hypotheticals. We pinpoint shit and we rock with it. 'Cause that's what it is anyway. Once you understand technicality, this has been technical, not doing technical analysis here in a certain way. But this is more telling a story, adding a story up of the buyers and the sellers. Now, of course, this takes a moment, and I thank you for being here with me. But this definitely gives you a better assumption. So here we have everybody has started something, and we still got support here. And we need to turn that green so I can see what's going on. Widen that up. Okay, maybe widen it up more. All right, cool. Matter of fact, I think I'm widening it up more, so everybody just kind of like, we got support. All right, cool. We got support. That's support. So support is at 15, obviously. This is one that did everything. This is the person that started. This is dead on support from a liquidation area. So now we're saying we don't want to see 100% at 15. Here is the actual, and I'm going to change that to, I hope y'all can follow me on all this here. That's why I gave you the story before we kind of start drawing all this. So although you were there, but you was the one that really got everything going up here. Not here, but there, right there, top of that wick. Okay, my bad, guys. So now it's making more sense. It's making more sense. Okay. So now we could draw this green, but I'm going to draw it orange because it needs to hold and show me some real respect for it in a way. Come up out of that area. And right now, nothing is showing me nothing. It's showing me that this is the actual guy who started everything now here and not up there anymore. The new person that started everything is actually here. I didn't want to move my lines around and confuse everybody. But so we have on the weekly, within this traffic of confusion, and I'm going to get ready to end this video, come to a conclusion that the one who started everything and the top of that wick is here, and I guess I could just draw that, bring it on down there. So initially it was up here. The person's really up here that started everything, and we got to get past this wick here and the body of it, but the wick of that is here. And I apologize. Yep, because that right there, you broke through. And although you wasn't convincing and so forth, and this was the next one up, that's why you have the respect of that green, because this green here actually is supposed to be red, broke down and broke this support. So the top of that brings you across here. So we do have actual support here trying to hold. So the top of this green here is trying to hold that. And obviously now, so we say that's the case, and we have volume coming from here pushing up. This has to turn green this week. This is the weeks of continuing. It didn't have to, but we want to see that hold and stay above, and or at least next week we don't want to see any breaks coming past 1667 or 1665 or so. So we don't want to see any breaks coming past this. I'm just gonna say right here. Yeah. So we don't want to see any breaks coming past it. Forget all that. And yeah, if we do, then I'm honestly looking past this support and really getting back down to 15. But actually, no, we should be here at 15. 1598 should be the last ideal support. And I guess I can draw that. Let's just do that. I'm sure I'll come back and revisit these here, but I'm only going to make this one video about silver. and where I see things are going, and just leave it like that. This is not going to be something back and forth on a daily, weekly basis or whatever kind of case. But it's a lot of volume and a lot of indication of people in the market right now when it comes to this actual. Ooh, excuse me on all that. I hope this ain't killing you guys. But it's a lot of volume, even when it comes to being something unusual. Right now, it's very unusual with the volume that's here versus the volume that's in the Dow and the SP 500. So something that's been traded on a normal like the SP 500, and so you have gold and silver that's having more investors coming into place and partaking in those. So that's something very unusual from my understanding with the market here. So that's something to keep our eyes and watchers on to see. That's encouraging to say, okay, you have that, so that's a better indication of more volume and more pushing to the upside. So I don't want to make any real indications of something other than that, because that sounds preposterous. But at the same token, we did go through a story here and kind of make a little sense of what's taking place. These things are well thought out and need a lot of more thinking and practice, and to be more skillful to really put things together. But this is a good start. All right, and so from here, I would obviously we have a target of 17, and we want to get above the 18 to really go and hold above that 18 before it would be an ideal way to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and start buying and putting into it. You could start out and obviously start out, you should already have some or whatever the case. But at the same token, if you were doing paper trades and things in that matter, here, if this was me trading right now and trying to trade the market just on a weekly basis or whatever, I would definitely wait to see if things get back or hold above this here particular 16, 60, 50 something or whatever, 65. So if things hold in that grace, then I will go ahead and look to do better and go ahead and get into the market and start pushing towards that 17 again, and expecting it to hold. But if it doesn't, then I'm going to wait to see how it approaches how it approaches the 16 mark. So as it approaches the 16 mark, if the volume gets into another high bar like this here, and then we have another drop off in volume behind that, then obviously we're looking down. That's scary to get back into the 13s. And that's, not to say that that's what it's going to be, but yeah, you want to kind of gauge and say, okay, it doesn't have to technically get all the way back into the 13s, but if we break below the 16, where we're trying to head to, because this was a support here, and obviously this is the person who started everything. This is one that is respecting, and if you get below the one is respecting, then what you got? You have $13. All right. So there we have it. That should make a little sense for some, and help me out a little bit better on my analysis here as well. I have many other things that I actually trade. This is some I actually have not traded. Being technical, an analyst, just put a chart in front of my face. So that, telling a story like this here, supply and demand, put a chart in front of my face. This is supply and demand, and just kind of saying the best scenarios for it. So breaking it down to this 100% retracement, and if this is 100% retracement, so we walked into that, and why that wasn't all the way down to this was more of a 98% retracement, 99% retracement, and not a complete 100% retracement, and therefore we see the result of that. Okay, we can see one here we can say, okay, that is 100% retracement. This right here is something that started everything. You can just grab anywhere and say that started, and of course bring it over, and I'm sorry, 100% retracement. So as soon as it was broken right here, immediately right here. So once that was broken here, although it made its way back up, remember how I drew those lines? It also made itself back down to the original one who started everything. Okay, so then we get here, and that is not a complete 100% retracement. That is a 98% retracement. And from the result of a 99% retracement, not a 100, we're back up here testing these highs of $18 coming all the way from $13. So obviously we don't want to see that come back down to $13 because and try to get back into this $13 and make it 100% retracement. Because once we see 100% retracement, then we getting down further, and and all the wolf tickets and everybody telling you all this extra stuff. But right now we do have high volume. We do have a change of things, but that is because it has a memory of past history. Past history brings in the investors, but where are we at? And right now we need some more thump coming in. We don't need all this. Right now it's just pulling back. True enough, this is a pullback, and it should pull back into this particular area. Ideal right here, and it actually has already pulled right here, so we should be in upward momentum, and we should continue with this upward leg. I just don't like the way it's not clean. It's starting out shabby and so forth. So it's like a shaky marriage. So starting out with shaky marriage, that doesn't impress me much for the long haul. All right, although the volume is there, but the volume is not impressing me. All right, but thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. And I hope we all got something out of this that we can make solid and see visually. At least you can see how I trade, how I actually perceive things into microscopical ways when I actually try talking about other things like the Dow and the SP and, other charts and companies themselves. All right. Again, y'all have a blessed day. Thank you again.